Very first episode, in the very first intro, we see a red background where Roku is standing on a pillar, foreshadowing where the final battle between Aang and Ozai occurs in the final episode. Katara, being an extremely powerful waterbender, was foreshadowed in the very first episode, where she complains at Sokka for being an annoying brother, unintentionally and unawarely destroying a huge iceberg behind her. There's a very noticeable difference between Iroh's firebending and every other firebender's firebending. Iroh's firebending has a fluent flow and a calm sound, while most other firebenders sounds like they are making explosions with their fists. This foreshadows Iroh learning firebending from the first firebenders. He knows how to properly bend without using emotion and anger, unlike most other firebenders. Bumi explains that defeating Fire Lord Ozai will require out-of-the-box thinking.
It's the duty of the Avatar to restore balance to the world by defeating Fire Lord Ozai. And when you do, I hope you will think like a mad genius.
Later, Aang uses seismic bending to predict his attack and counter it, thinking outside the box. While Roku is busy blowing up his own temple, he lets only the loyal sage and Zuko go free. The sage seems pretty obvious, but freeing Zuko is a bit of a shock at that point. He tried to capture Aang after all. Zuko later learns that Roku is his great-grandfather. It all makes sense. Speaking about Aang and Zuko, Aang wonders out loud whether in a different time, he and Zuko could be good friends.
If we knew each other back then, do you think we could have been friends too?
And now we're friends. Yeah. We are friends.
At the end of the series, they are not only friends, but friends that will even transcend lifetimes. The schematics of the inventor in Season 1 foreshadows the drill in Season 2. When Zuko is about to be by his dad, you see three characters, Zhao, Azula, and Uncle Iroh. Uncle Iroh looks away in horror, but Zhao and Azula are both smiling, foreshadowing that these two will later on be Zuko's enemies. The chief of the Northern Water Tribe gives a speech that some of the faces will disappear after the battle. We then have the camera focus on Yue, Han, and Pakku. Yue sacrificed himself. Han was giving Bozo and thrown off the ship, and Pakku left the Northern Tribe to help the Southern one. Ka is angry at the Avatar. Not Aang specifically, but the Avatar.
My old friend the Avatar. It's been a long time.
You know me?
How could I forget you? One of your previous incarnations tried to slay me. Maybe 800 or 900 years ago.
While explaining his anger towards the Avatar, he shows a face that he has already stolen. Later, it's explained that this face belongs to the wife of the Last Waterbender Avatar, Kurok.
It was my fault. If I had been more attentive and more active, I could have saved her.
And Kurok tried to kill Ka in revenge, hence his anger towards the Avatar. When Azula is introduced, we see a calm and collective but precise girl.
Almost perfect. One hair out of place.
Almost isn't good enough.
Except when she miscalculates something, then she goes batshit crazy. The fact that she got angry so quickly because one hair was out of place shows that she's not very stable. Later on, when she actually miscalculates something very important, she completely loses it. Aang stated that he really wished he was a metal bender.
What I'd give to be a metal bender.
Toph later invents metal bending.
It's nice to see old friends.
Too bad you don't have any old friends that don't want to attack you.
Old friends that don't want to attack me.
So wait, how do you all know each other?
All old people know each other. Don't you know that?
It came from a Grand Lotus, your uncle, Iroh of the Fire Nation.
Zuko's dream illustrates having to make a choice between his uncle and Azula, the red dragon and the blue dragon. At the end of the dream, you can see that the blue dragon won. And at the end of the episode of Crossroads of Destiny, you see that Zuko chose Azula over his uncle. and his uncle is not angry at him, but just very disappointed and sad. When searching Hama's house, the gang discovers a closet with puppets. This foreshadows Hama's ability as a bloodbender, where she can control people as puppets. When Katara and Sokka were forced to leave during the invasion, Sokka tells his dad that they won't be apart for too long this time.
Bye, Dad. We won't be apart for too long this time. I promise.
A few episodes later, and Sokka breaks his dad out of prison. The group fights the Melon Lord the same way they fight in the final battle.
Suki and I will draw his fire. Then Katara and Zuko charge in with some liquidy hot offense, and while the Melon Lord is distracted, Aang swoops in and BAM! He delivers the final blow.
Aang is alone, Zuko is with Katara, and Sokka is with Suki and Toph. Iroh mentioned how fate is an interesting concept. He imagined many times being in the inner wall bossing Say.
But I always thought I would be here as a conqueror. Instead, we are the Earth King's personal guests, here to serve him tea. Destiny is a funny thing.
First, he was a conqueror, then a refugee, and finally a liberator.